Hi there, I have a thought for the day. And again, I am reading from The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. Mastery of Love. Wouldn't that make a world? And I'm going to start on page 17, where he says, when a human is born, the emotional mind, the emotional body is completely healthy. Maybe around 3 or 4 years of age, the first wounds in the emotional body begin to appear, and then they get infected with emotional poison. If you observe children who are 2 or 3 years old, if you see how they behave, they are playing all the time. You see them laughing. Their imagination is so powerful, and the way they dream is an adventure of exploration. When something is wrong, they react, do they? And they defend themselves. But then they just let go and turn their attention to the moment again, to play again, to explore again, and have fun again. They are living in the moment. They are not ashamed of the past, and they are not worried about the future. Little children express what they feel, and they are not afraid to love. The happiest moments in our lives are when we are playing just like children, when we are singing and dancing, exploring and creating just for fun. It is wonderful when we behave like a child, because this is the normal human mind, the normal human tendency. As children, we are innocent, and it's natural for us to express love. But what has happened to us? What has happened to the whole world? What has happened is that when we are children, the adults already have that mental disease, and they are highly contagious. How do they pass this disease to us? First, they hook our attention, and they teach us to be like them. That is how we pass our disease to our children. And that's how our parents, our teachers, our older siblings, the whole of society of sick people infected us with that same disease. They hooked our attention, and then they put information into our mind through repetition. This is the way we learned. And this is the way we program a human mind. The problem is the program, the information we have stored in our mind. By hooking the attention, we teach children a language of responses, how to read people, how to behave and to react to them, how to dream a hell. We domesticate humans the same way we domesticate a dog or any other animal, with punishment and reward. This is perfectly normal. What we call education is nothing but domestication of the human being. We are afraid to be punished, but later we are also afraid of not getting the reward, of not being good enough for mom or dad, sibling or teacher. The need to be accepted is born. Before that, we don't care whether we're accepted or not. People's opinions are not important. They are not important because we just want to play and live in the moment. The fear of not getting the reward becomes the fear of rejection. The fear of not being good enough for someone else is what makes us try to change, what makes us create an image of ourselves. Then we try to protect that image according to what they, whoever they are, want us to be, just to be accepted, just to get that reward. We learn to pretend to be what we are not. And we practice trying to be someone else just to be good enough for mom, for dad, for the teacher, for our religion, for whatever. We practice and practice, and soon we master how to be what we are not. Soon we forget who we really are, and we start to live our images. We create not just one image, but many different images according to the different groups of people we associate with. We create an image at home, another one at school, and when we grow up, we create even more images. In the period when we are little children, there is no conflict with the images we pretend to be. Our images are not really challenged until we begin to interact with the outside world and no longer have our parents' protection. This is why being a teenager is particularly difficult. Even if we are prepared to support and defend our images, as soon as we try to project our images to the outside world, it fights back. The outside world starts proving to us, not just privately, but publicly, that we are not what we pretend to be. Let's take the example of a teenage boy who pretends to be very, very intelligent. He goes to a debate at school, and in that debate, someone who is more intelligent and more prepared wins the debate. And it makes him look ridiculous in front of everyone. He will try to explain and excuse and justify his image in front of his peers. He will be so kind to everyone and will try to save his image in front of them. But he knows he's lying. Of course, he tries his best not to break in front of his peers, but as soon as he's alone and he sees himself in a mirror, he goes and breaks the mirror. He hates himself. He feels that he's stupid, that he is the worst. There's a big discrepancy between the inner image and the image he was trying to project to the outside world. The bigger the discrepancy, the more difficult the adaptation to the society dream and the less love he will have for himself. Between the image he pretends to be and the inner image when he is alone are lies and more lies. Both images are completely out of touch with reality. They're false, but he doesn't see that. Maybe someone else can see that, but he's completely blind. His denial system tries to protect the wounds, but the wounds are real, and he's hurting because he's trying so hard to defend an image. When we are children, we learn that everyone's opinions are important, and we rule our lives according to those opinions. A simple opinion from someone else can put us deep into hell. An opinion that's not even true, perhaps. If someone says, "You're ugly," you are wrong. You're stupid. Opinions have a great deal of power over the nonsense behavior of people who live in hell. That's why we need to hear that we are good, that we are doing well, and that we are beautiful. How do I look? How was what I said? Did that make sense? How am I doing? Those are the kinds of questions we should ask and be willing to hear the answer. We need to hear the opinions of others because we are domesticated and we can be manipulated by those opinions. That's why we seek recognition from other people. We need emotional support. We need to be accepted by the outside dream. That's why teenagers drink alcohol, take drugs, or start smoking. It's just to be accepted by other people who have all those opinions. It's just to be considered cool. So many humans are suffering because of all the false images we try to project. Humans pretend to be something very important, but at the same time, we believe we are nothing. We work so hard to be someone in that society dream, to be recognized and approved by others, We try so hard to be important, to be a winner, to be powerful, to be rich, to be famous, to express our personal dream, and to impose our dream onto the people around us. Why? Because humans believe the dream is real, and therefore they take it very seriously. So as you go through the day today, think about the dream that you are creating, that you are contributing to, the big dream, the societal dream. Is that your dream? What happened to your dream? Is what you're doing to contribute to that big society dream contradicting the personal dream you hold in your heart? Can you give yourself permission to start excavating your own personal dream and bring it into life, to fruition? Think about it and make a great day.